And we are underway. Alright, so for those who are new to FF1, PSP speedrunning, there's going to be some quick menuing in this first town. There's an equipment glitch that allows us to get some really overpowered equipment right at the beginning of the game. Both runners are going to be glitching onto themselves one knight's armor per character, as well as an extra copy of the knight's armor to sell. The knight's armor sells for 18,000 gil and will give both runners the money they need to buy consumables and stuff for the beginning of the run. So Poorscythe had himself a solid menu there. Crrool doing some extra shopping. Crrool uses an older route called the Barbarian Sword route, and so he's going to be doing a little bit different menuing and different shopping than Poorscythe throughout the run. Yeah, Poorscythe out of Cornelia at 50 seconds. That's a really solid menu time from him. Crrool's going to take a little bit longer to get out of town just because he did item shopping before leaving. He's out with a time of 107. Ideally, you want a time of about 1 minute with the route that Crrool does. So a little bit of rust in the menus on his side. Poorscythe quick encounter. In general, this first little segment, not much is difficult to run from. Wolf, getting a wolf is probably the last encounter that you want to see. And you can see Crrool electing to just kill it after failing to run. Alright, so Poorscythe ahead in the Chaos Shrine. He's going to pick up a leather hat here and use this to glitch himself the Judgment Staff. The Judgment Staff is an endgame weapon that when used as an item casts Flare. The leather hat glitches into the Judgment Staff, and he's going to pop one on all 4 of his characters. This will be a great early game AoE spell for both runners. Poorscythe gets up to the first boss, Garland. Garland is a relatively easy boss. He's got 212-ish HP. I don't remember the exact number. Takes about 3 to 4 hits to kill him, depending on crit luck. And Crrool getting unlucky with some wolves, multiple wolf packs early. Flare is a nuke, basically, from the NES version. The Judgment Staff is an item that is dropped in the bonus dungeons in the game, specifically from Atomos in Lifespring Grotto. So it is a endgame piece of equipment that we're able to get very, very early on into the run. And that's Garland down for Crrool at 310. Cutscenes for both runners right now. The king has commissioned a bridge to be built to allow us to progress further through the game now that we have rescued the princess from Garland. Crrool with is a little bit behind at the beginning, just from extra menuing in town plus encounter RNG. Wolves are particularly nasty to see. Poorscythe had a pretty uneventful trip up to Garland. And with this quick cutscene skip, Poorscythe has his run underway. This next segment has some decent encounters and some encounters you really don't want to see. Again, wolves are the encounters that you're crossing your fingers not to see. Wolves have an extremely high agility, and so it's hard for our characters to run away from them. My apologies for my phone in the background. My work thinks that they can call me 24/7, and that is just not the case. So I will be turning my phone on silent so they do not disturb us for the rest of the match. Both runners getting 7 wolves here. Poorscythe getting lucky and fleeing from them quickly. Crrool gets a relatively quick flee from them as well. So Poorscythe is going to do his item shopping now instead of in the first town. He's going to buy 51 potions, 31 ethers. I think he misclicked the amount of ethers. That might be intentional on his part. Usually you buy about 41 here. The reason that Poorscythe does the shopping here is that it saves a shop in Crescent Lake where you would normally get ethers if you don't get them here. Crrool, having already done his shopping, is going to go straight to Pirates as well, and both runners are pretty close to each other again. So not only did they glitch themselves the Judgment Staff at the beginning of the game, they also glitched themselves Knight's Armor, and Knight's Armor sells for 18,000 right at the beginning, giving them all the money that they need. Alright, so Poorscythe getting an unfortunate ambush on the sea. It's a Sahagin, 2 Sahagins and a Big Eyes. The Big Eyes will paralyze one character, which is annoying. You're going to see Poorscythe just go right ahead and kill this encounter. Sahagins, like wolves, are very agile and hard to run away from, especially with our current equipment. Killing these for Poorscythe kind of helps. With his route, he's using the Black Mage route, and if he doesn't get lucky, he could use the extra experience to make sure that he hits level thresholds needed to learn spells. So Crrool has taken the lead, managed to land his boat and walk over to Marsh Cave before Poorscythe has had a chance. He's just getting hammered on the sea right now. That's 2 ambushes on the boat. Very unfortunate for Poorscythe. Single Cobra, that's what Crrool wants to see on his side. Dodging the wolf packs. And Poorscythe has also landed and is on his way to Marsh Cave. You see both runners are going to dip inside the castle and then walk out. This is just to reset the encounter threat level on the world map. Crrool's having a tough time running from this wolf pack. Poorscythe trying to catch back some ground. But he is just getting ambushed non-stop. So Crrool healing up his characters a quick bit. The upcoming boss, Pisco Demons, is a spike tile that you need to kill the enemy to continue. They hurt even with Knight's Armor on, so having your characters topped up for that fight is very important. Probably looking at about 45 seconds based on encounter luck difference between the 2 runners at the moment. 2 Pisco Demons from Crrool. It's kind of irrelevant from his route standpoint, but Poorscythe is hoping to see at least 3 or 4 for experience totals. As you saw on Crrool's side, both runners are just going to be nuking the Pisco Demons down. Poorscythe with 4, that's exactly what he wants to see for his experience totals. Looks like Poorscythe may have equipped the regular staff on his Black Mage by accident. So he's gonna have to go into a menu and fix that. The Marsh Cave encounter rate has been significantly reduced in specifically the PSP version compared to every other version of the game. So the GBA version does have a much higher encounter rate in Marsh Cave than this version does. It is not uncommon to get 0 encounters throughout the entirety of that dungeon on PSP. Unless your name is Double Drop and then you get 5 or 6. Because I'm never lucky. Yeah, shadows as well have been reprogrammed to be preemptive the majority of the time. So Crrool making quick work of the walk to Astos. That was about as clean of a walk to Astos as you would want to see. So Astos is a pretty simple boss. It's going to take 2 physicals and 2 nukes to take him down. You can get away with just 1 physical if the white mage has a good damage roll. Yeah, now you preempt shadows the majority of the time. You can still get ambushed by them, but it's extremely rare. So Poorscythe had caught up a little bit, but Crrool with that amazing walk to Astos has managed to get his lead back to a nice secure spot. Yeah, due to the nature of the equipment that we use in this run, the Thief is actually the highest damage dealer in the run, just due to the way the damage calculation works. The Thief has way more agility, and because we can give him warrior weapons, he's able to take that damage coupled with his agility and output more damage than anybody else. It looks like Poorscythe has fixed his Judgment Staff on his Black Mage. Crrool's having a really nice run so far. 13 minutes and he's almost back at the town. That is a pretty solid time on his end. No poison from the tarantulas, that's what he wants to see. Having to stop and cure the poison is a little bit of a slowdown. He's going to pop into town either here or after Mystic Key, probably to buy some gold needles. Looks like he's going to be doing it afterwards. His lead is going to grow a little bit as Poorscythe needs to do some shopping before continuing along. He's going to be buying some black magic spells, specifically Fyra and Thundara for his Black Mage, and that will allow him to AoE mobs down a little bit faster than having to use the nuke spell from the Judgment Staff. And so the animation time on Fyra and Thundara is a lot faster than it is on nuke. So he's going to be swapping over from nuke to those spells and boosting his intelligence on his mages with some equipment later on to ensure that he does one-shot mobs with those spells. In typical race fashion, of course, Crrool is on early PB pace. While Poorscythe is here, is going to pick up some safety gold needles to ensure if he gets petrified that he can cure petrification. That is a run ender if you don't have them. So with the tonic in hand for Crrool, he's going to be heading back to Elfheim to get himself his Mystic Key. You can see Poorscythe abusing the fact that dock tiles have 0 encounters on them. Park his ship a little bit further away. Buccaneers on the sea is the encounter that you really want to see. Unlike the Sahagins, you can run away from them very consistently. So Crrool with a low 16-minute Mystic Key. This is a time that any runner would take in a PB attempt. Poorscythe's looking like he's gonna be about 2 minutes behind at Mystic Key. It's not a gap that he can't catch up, but it is definitely one that he is hoping to have not been in so early. With Mystic Key in hand, Crrool is now gonna pop back into the castle and raid the treasure chest up north. Specifically, he's looking for the Mithril Hammer, which glitches into the Thieves' Armlet. The Thieves' Armlet is a massive agility boost for his characters, and this is going to expedite the fleeing process significantly. He's going to be putting the Thieves' Armlet in both the helm, armor, and glove slots on all of his characters using the equipment glitch. The bonus now is that his Knight's Armors have been returned to his inventory, and he'll be able to sell them the next time he goes to a shop. That will net him pretty much all the gold that he needs for the entire run. He's also going to take the time to detour for his gold needles now. And there we go. Sells them 74,000 gil. And should not need to be bothered with making money for the rest of the run. So now things like wolves do not bother Crrool anymore. He has enough agility to consistently run from them. Sahagins as well. You can see Poorscythe electing to flee with 3 of his characters and have his Black Mage queue up a Thundara. Just in case the flee doesn't go off, he can reliably kill this pack. Thief manages to flee, saving him some animation time. Yeah, the gap at the moment is about 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 15 seconds. It'll be interesting to see here if Poorscythe decides to play a little bit risky to try and catch up some of that time. It should definitely be noted that Poorscythe's route is a little bit more consistent in the endgame as far as time loss is concerned. Crrool can bleed time with bad RNG. Poorscythe, while also will bleed time, will not bleed as much, and it is entirely possible that he can catch up some of this time just by route in the later half of the run. You will see in it as well, in addition to Thieves' Armlets, Poorscythe is also going to be glitching himself the Sage's Staff on both his Thief and his White Mage. This is to increase intelligence, which does factor into the fleeing calculations, but also the intelligence boost will be nice when casting spells. One of those Sage's Staffs will be given to the Black Mage very shortly to ensure that he does one-shot packs. That's a nasty encounter for Poorscythe. You can just see the kind of luck that he's getting. It's never expected that you get an encounter from the dock to the castle. It's like 3 steps. To get an encounter there is extremely unlucky. It'll be interesting to see if Poorscythe does decide to roll the dice and play 15 puzzle before docking at Melman to try and get his 1 in 6 emergency exit. Emergency exit will allow him to warp out of Cavern of Earth after picking up the Star Ruby, saving him effectively 2 minutes, and could very easily flip the tables if he gets it. However, it'll take him about 30 seconds to get it, and if he whiffs on it, could put him further in the hole. It'll be a tough decision on his point whether or not he wants to go for it to try and catch up or not. Crrool is going to take a quick pit stop here in Melmond. He's going to pick up a Steel Gloves, which, once glitched, will turn into the massively overpowered Barbarian Sword. The Barbarian Sword is the strongest weapon in the game, and this will allow both runners to just plow through the entire game. Crrool is going to be throwing a Barbarian Sword on all 4 of his characters, as this route works. This is a non-magical route, so any AoEs that Crrool needs to do will be done via nuke. And all 4 characters will have a Barbarian Sword to just mow bosses down. When Poorscythe gets to that menu, he's only going to be throwing the Barbarian Sword on his Thief and his Warrior, leaving the mages to have some intelligence and or agility boosting weapons to allow him to run from packs a little bit more consistently. So in our Cavern of Earth, we go for Crrool. The first 2 floors are pretty safe. What you're hoping to see from these 2 is just a lower encounter rate. Nothing particularly dangerous in here. The 3rd floor is where it starts to get a little bit dicey. You have 2 really nasty packs. You have the Pisco Demons from Marsh Cave, which are unrunnable. You have to stop and kill them. As well, you have Cockatrices, which can petrify on hit, and that's why we picked up the gold needles. However, an ambush from Cockatrices and having all 4 characters petrified is an instant game over, and it is entirely possible to see that. So he'll probably be dropping a save as soon as he hits the 3rd floor. And there's the save from Crrool. I was holding my breath there, but a 0 encounter B3 from Crrool, that is... You can't ask for any better than a 0 encounter B3. And here is the 15 puzzle from Poorscythe, trying to catch some time back up. So he wants to finish this puzzle with a time of between 30 seconds and 59. Doing so will net him the 2nd place with a possible prize of an emergency exit. It's a 1 in 6 chance, as I mentioned earlier. So he had his 10 and his 14. Kind of swapped around there, and it's a remedy on his point. So it's 35 seconds that he will not get back. Definitely felt that it was worth the risk, though. Here's the Steel Gloves, and he's going to throw Barbarian Swords on his characters now. He's also going to take the Sage Staff off the Thief and give it to his Black Mage. The Sage Staff gives him a little bit more intelligence and will allow him to reliably kill Pisco Demon packs with simply Thundara, rather than needing to nuke them. Crrool is on an absolutely monstrous pace right now. Yeah, Crrool is not only ahead of his own PB, but he's currently ahead of Poorscythe's PB to boot. He's having an insane run right now. Poorscythe, no save on B3. He knows he's behind and has to risk it for the biscuit. Gonna start to see some YOLO from Poorscythe. To be fair from Crrool, he probably typed that while he was waiting for this stone golem to move out of the way, which takes about 15 seconds. This is a nasty encounter for Poorscythe. He has 2 characters petrified. He's gonna go for a nuke on it. That's the safe play from his side. Yeah, it's probably about a 30 second delay. At least my race yesterday. This stream is about 30 seconds behind. So Poorscythe that Vampire 27:30. It's about 4 minutes behind Crrool at the moment. Crrool's side is 27:30. Earthrod puts him ahead of his own PB, my PB, and Poorscythe's PB. He's having a pace right now. Four-time comparisons. Crrool's PB is in the 127s, if I recall. My own is a low 125, and Poorscythe has a 123. So this is on pace for all 3 of those times, depending on how the back end goes. And you can't ask for a much better pace in a race. Alright, so Poorscythe on B1. He's almost out. This is a nasty 7 undead pack for Crrool. Manages to get out of it. Yeah, we'll see how B4 goes for Crrool, but he is still on pace for a 31-minute lich, which would be absolutely insane in a race. Two Pisco Demons, he's just going to stop and mow them down with the Barbarian Sword. In this situation, Poorscythe would have had the option to AoE them down if he so chose. So the world record in this category is a very high 1 hour 22 minutes. It's 1 hour 22 minutes 47 seconds from Soma. And the second place time is a 1:22:50 from Seiya 27. So a little bit of a slow lich segment for Crrool in terms of just the segment time itself. He's still on an incredibly good pace. This is going to be a low 32 lich. You can do a lot of things with a low 32 lich. Poorscythe then, though, he's looking for a low 32 Earth Rod, which is not ideal on his point. He's probably about 4 to 5 minutes behind. That's a quick Blizzara and a wipe for Crrool. Very glad that he saved. It is less likely to see that in Crrool's route than it is Poorscythe's, just due to the turn order. As Crrool has 4 characters with Barbarian Swords, it is entirely possible to get 3 of them to act before Lich. And that's Lich down for Crrool at 32:40. Still really solid time. The Death and the Lich segment does give Poorscythe a little bit of leeway to try and catch up some lost time. Yeah, so FF1 PSP is basically RNG the speedrun. The amount of execution to RNG ratio is so astronomical, it's not even funny. It is, however, a very good beginner speedrun in the sense that, you know, if you are new to speedrunning in general or new to speedrunning RPGs specifically, the speedrun does showcase a lot of elements and skills that you would need in speedrunning in general, while not creating a very high difficulty level for entry. So let's see how the bottom half of Cavern of Earth goes for Poorscythe. He is hoping for a very, very low encounter rate. Electing, again, not to save on B3. Trying to save himself some time. Not saving on B3 in a race is definitely something that only a very experienced runner of this game would ever elect to do in a tournament race setting, because there are so many things that can go wrong. You really need to know the ins and outs of the game to be able to get away from it or to mitigate a lot of the damage that could come to you. That's not to say it's safer for Poorscythe, but just that he knows the risk and the risk mitigations he would need to take if he encounters specific situations. Crrool has made it to Crescent Lake. He's going to be doing some shopping here, picking up the ethers that he did not get earlier. He needs about 41 of them. As well, a Mithril Axe here is going to glitch into Black Garbs. The Black Garbs is a upgrade for Crrool in terms of agility. It's going to be replacing the Thieves Armlet. There's a pretty scary Cockatrice encounter for Poorscythe on his side. That's the one encounter he does not want to see with no safety save. Neither runner has... Well, that's not true. Crrool has wiped to Lich once. but did have a safety save right in front. Poorscythe has not wiped. He's just been getting demolished by the game in terms of RNG. We are definitely seeing a save in front of Lich for Poorscythe, though. The wipe chance on this boss for him is much higher than it is for Crrool. With only 2 Barbarian Swords, he only has 2 attackers. They both need to go before Lich, and they both need to hit damage thresholds, or it is a potential wipe. You see defense on both mages. He hit the damage threshold on the ninja and the warrior, so he's good to go. Say 36-37. Still about a 4-minute gap at Lich for... Yeah, 4.5 minutes at Lich between the 2 runners. Crrool's going to want to take it as safe as possible. It is not impossible to catch up this 4 minutes for Poorscythe, but it is incredibly unlikely, and he is going to need to have an extremely good back half of the run to make this up. Crrool has previously been beaten with a 4-minute lead at this point in a race in this tournament, so he knows full well that it is possible. This definitely does not want to take his foot off the gas just yet, but at the same time, does not want to take a lot of risks. So Crrool's in Ice Cave. Ice Cave is the nastiest dungeon in the game. There's a lot of things here that can kill you. There's a lot of things here that can waste your time. And there's a lot of things here that look like a bird. Specifically Mutsky in chat. Give a big shoutouts to Mutsky. That's a second Pisco Demon pack for Crrool. He has no choice but to stop and nuke these. Poorscythe, depending on his equipment, may also have to nuke them. So in Poorscythe's route, the only way that you can kill Pisco Demons with Thundara is if you leave the Sage of Staff on the Black Mage. Poorscythe may, however, elect to equip the Lust Dagger on his Black Mage for the extra flee chance. Ice Gigas Winterwolf is a rare unrunnable encounter here. Not what Crrool was looking for. He's going to have to stop and kill these. Alright, the warrior's down on Poorscythe's end. He needs the warrior and the thief to die before he gets to Evil Eye. So he's going to leave him dead. Holy moly. By the way, this pace for Crrool is absolutely insane. There's the white dragon. The one thing Crrool does not want to see in this place. And he is very nice and just decides to physical. An Ice Storm would have instantly wiped him there. Wasn't even an ambush. He just completely got outsped by the white dragon. That is possible with Crrool's route, as he does not have the Lust Dagger to boost agility. So on Poorscythe's end, you're going to see him equipping Lust Daggers on his mages. The Lust Dagger is a massive agility boost, and this is going to make the Ice Cave a little bit safer for him. Yes, that's correct. If you do kill a mob with a physical attack, your auto will move to the next available. That was changed in the GBA version of the game, and the PSP version is a remaster with extra content of the GBA, so most of the mechanics from the GBA version remain. So Crrool at the Evil Eye, he's looking for Thundara. Or a death on his thief. Basically wants the thief to die so he can grind out his mages to level 18. Which he's going to need level 19 on his mages in order to learn the spells Hilara and Teleport. So it's level 18 plus the experience that he's going to gain before the class change. There's the Thundara. Black Mage going down is unfortunate, so he's going to have to stop and bring the Black Mage back up. So the equipment glitch will allow us to finish the run at much lower levels than you would ever expect to beat this game at. And while we use the overpowered equipment that we get to kind of mitigate a lot of damage that we take and output a lot of damage, we are going to be completely reliant on HP rolls on our characters. So we're going to be paying close attention to how much HP growth his Black Mage gets. Ideally, he wants to have about 230 plus by the time he hits Chaos, and his Ninja at around 330 plus. Otherwise, he's going to have to use the Giant's Tonic item to add 200 max HP to his characters during the Chaos boss fight. Alright, with a good Cavern of Ice, Poorscythe has the chance here to make up a little bit of time against Crrool. Crrool's Ice Cave has not been kind. Pisco Demons is the last thing he wants to see here. With no Sage of Staff on his Black Mage, he's going to have to nuke these things down. No, it is definitely not RNG. Both mages will reliably outspeed the Evil Eye every time with the gear that we have on. 3 Black Garbs on both mages is enough agility to outspeed Evil Eye every time. Crrool is done with his grind. He is still on really good pace, despite the slow Ice Cave. I have to take a quick look at his splits just to confirm if he is still ahead of PB, but I would have to imagine that he is. He's about even with his PB. Poorscythe, no risks in the Ice Cave, dropping an extra save here. Preemptive on the Dark Wizards. Anytime you see those, it's a breathtaking moment, as if it's not preemptive, the Dark Wizards can Firaga and one-shot the entire party. Quick Thundara from Evil Eye. Poorscythe is gonna save a little bit of time from Crrool, just getting that quick proc. He also has a really nice early HP growth on this Black Mage, which is good to see. Looks like he's caught up about a minute over the course of the last little segment. So it's still a large gap, but he's closing it a little bit. Oh, Poorscythe has just been getting hammered by RNG. That's the main reason that he's behind. He's had no deaths, no major mistakes. Crrool did have a very quick death to Lich, didn't cost him too much time, but the gap has been 3 to 4 minutes for quite some time, just due to the nature of Poorscythe's RNG. Crrool, on the other hand, is on PB pace. So while Poorscythe grinds, Crrool is going to be making his way to Citadel. He's dropping a safety save here. This place isn't particularly risky. It is possible to take a death here, but it's extremely rare. Sandworm encounters can Earthquake your party to death as well. You can get Mind Flayer Ambush in Citadel, which can also kill you. Otherwise, this next segment is, for the most part, safe. But with such a large gap, there's no reason for Crrool not to play it safe and drop a save. Oh, that's not a good sign on Poorscythe's side. 3 Dark Wizards ambush, all of them physical attack. No Firaga, and he manages to get away. That's a sigh of relief from Poorscythe's side, managing to get away from that encounter. Definitely dodged a bullet there. Crrool is looking to dodge Minotaur zombie encounters here in Sabrina's Pokemon Gym. That's the one encounter you cannot run from. He's going to have to stop and kill them. And there's the Minotaur zombie. One is a pretty easy kill. They die to a single physical attack with the Barbarian Sword. So on the 3rd floor of Citadel, Crrool's going to be picking up a chest up ahead, containing an item that will glitch into the Lordly Robes. He will need the Lordly Robes for Chaos to buff his White Mage's healing output. I don't believe he's going to be equipping them outside of the Chaos fight. Yeah, they are both running separate routes. So the Healing Staff turns into the Lordly Robes. That is a massive intelligence boost. As I mentioned, Crrool is also going to be picking up a separate chest, which contains the Gauntlets, which he's going to need to glitch into the Golden Staff. Also an intelligence boosting item for the White Mage. And so Poorscythe on his way to enter Citadel. He has caught up some time here. Crrool with a 5-Horned Devil ambush, slowing him down a little bit. They're all casting on him, which is relatively annoying. And there's the gauntlets for Crrool. Poorscythe can completely skip that chest, as with the Sage's Staff, he does not need the Golden Staff. And that's a 49-54 Rat's Tail for Crrool. We'll see what the gap is when Poorscythe gets there. Crrool's fought enough stuff that the only 1 Dragon Zombie here should not be an issue. He's got his level 19. It's especially important for Crrool that he hits level 19 at that Dragon Zombie, as there is not just an equipment route difference between both runners, but a physical route difference. Crrool is going to be doing his shopping before going to Mount Gulg to fight Merilith, and Poorscythe will be fighting Merilith first, allowing him to squeeze in that extra little bit of XP off Merilith. This is important. Because Crrool will need the level 19 now before going into the volcano in order to buy his spells. So Poorscythe throws a Lordly Robe onto his Black Mage immediately after getting the Healing Staff. This gives the Black Mage a bit of an intelligence boost and will allow him to AoE packs with Fyra, Thundara, Blizzara in one shot. So the reason you want to use the elemental spells instead of Nuke is the animation time. Nuke is an 8-second cast, and the elemental spells are a 3-second cast. 5 seconds every time you have to kill an encounter over the course of the run can add up to well over a minute. Of course, like, it's hard to quantify the time that you save from using the elemental spells, especially considering you have to go and buy them. And optimally, it doesn't really save time. Because optimally, you don't get encounters that you have to kill. But as we all know, the game does not always give you amazing RNG. And when you do have bad RNG, this mitigates the time loss significantly. So Crrool has picked up Teleport and Hilara. That's the spells he needed to be 19 for. He's also going to stop here and pick up Haste for his Black Mage, just to squeeze out some extra DPS on the final boss. Yeah, the reason we use the elemental spells is not for the damage output, because Nuke will one-shot everything. We have enough intelligence to be able to one-shot every pack with Nuke. The specific reason we do it is the cast time. Exactly, yeah, the animation of Flare takes forever. Can cast it, take a nap, wake back up, and it'll still be casting. Pretty uneventful Mount Gulg for Crrool so far. He's looking to have anywhere between 0 to 2 encounters maximum. Of course, stepping on all the damage tiles to make sure he does not get encounters. Crrool's still on PB pace for the most part. Probably about 10-15 seconds behind his PB, which is very good in a race. On Poorscythe's end, it's going to look like he's closed the gap significantly versus Crrool. That is not the case, however. He is doing Mount Gulg before he does his shopping, so he should be in there a little bit before Crrool. Well, in terms of routing anyway, he goes in there before Crrool does. We'll kind of see a true test of how far the gap is once both runners hit Sunken Shrine. Poorscythe needs to cross his fingers here and hope for a 0 encounter at Mount Gulg. That will definitely help his case for his comeback. Good first couple floors. Interesting move from Poorscythe's side, only electing to heal one character instead of all three. Alright, a single encounter. A second encounter on B5, that's unfortunate. 2 encounters total. Oh, that is just brutal. On the tile, you have to fight the boss getting an encounter. That is not what you want to see if you're Poorscythe. Crrool. Working on the Oxyale part of the fetch quest to open up Sunken. As we've seen, Poorscythe has already done this part. He just needs to do some shopping before heading to Sunken. Because Crrool has already done his shopping, he can just teleport out of the town. Alright, so Crrool's on the walk to Sunken now. Poorscythe does still have to do a little bit of shopping. He needs to pick up Hilara, Teleport, and Haste. As well as potentially haste on his ninja. It's entirely possible he has enough XP to get that. Crrool cannot afford more than one unrunnable encounter between here and the Rosetta Stone chest if he wants to continue his PB pace. Really solid first floor. And there's the one unrunnable water elementals. So it's important to note that Poorscythe does have 3 different spells he can use against unrunnable packs in this dungeon. Crrool has only 2 options, physical attack or nuke. And so with 3 enemies, he's going to elect to physical them as opposed to wiping them with nuke. With the 9 Sahagin unrunnable encounter, however, he has no choice but to use nuke. A third unrunnable pack for Crrool. This is just unfortunate. Sunken Shrine has not been kind to Crrool in races that he is on a big pace. It is also unfortunately the one dungeon where his route loses a lot of time with bad RNG compared to the route Poorscythe is using. So what was once a 4+ minute gap has been closed to a minute 30. Poorscythe is on pace to catch back up, doing everything he can to pull this off. If you're Crrool, you have to be kind of panicking here right now, having already lost a 4-minute lead earlier in the tournament. In this part of the run, he has to be sweating a little bit right now, knowing that even this 1.5-minute lead is not safe. The game still has to cooperate. 3 encounters on the first floor is not helping Poorscythe's case very much though. But if he can dodge the unrunnables on the next floor, Can definitely still catch up more time. Oh, that's unrunnable pack number 1. Thundar, as you can see, kills it much faster than the nuke. You get a good side-by-side comparison here as Crrool also encounters a Sahagin pack. Poorscythe was able to get another encounter and flee from that encounter before the animation time of nuke went off on Crrool's end. So you can see the difference that it makes. Fire for the ghosts, very similar. So Crrool is up to the biggest menu in the game, is the Survival Vest menu. After picking up the Light Axe, you can equip Survival Vest on your character. It is an agility increase from the Black Garb, and he's going to be popping them down on all of his characters. The exception is he's going to be equipping 2 Lordly Robes onto his White Mage in advance of the Chaos fight. He needs the intelligence on the White Mage for extra heal. He does have the option to equip Survival Vest on the White Mage now and give her the Lordly Robes after, but he has chosen to just pre-menu her here. It doesn't make too much of a difference. You can see on Poorscythe's end, instead of going for that Light Axe on the 2nd floor, he is going for the one on the 4th floor. It's a little bit of a risky move, but as long as he doesn't get too many encounters, or at least no more than 1 unrunnable, it is probably breaks even and or saves time. So he's gonna teleport and then heal up and do his menuing now. His menu is gonna look a lot different. Survival vests on all 3 slots for the warrior and the ninja. He's gonna put 2 survival vests on the black mage and give the black mage a 2nd lordly robe. As well, the white mage gets 3 lordly robes and no survival vest. He is going to be overriding the last slot on the white mage with a ribbon. The black mage is not going to get a ribbon until before chaos for Poorscythe. So now Poorscythe needs to dodge unrunnables on his way to Kraken. See if he can save any time throughout this Sunken, which has been absolutely atrocious for Crrool. Probably the worst part of this run for him so far. It's been smooth sailing for Crrool, but this Sunken has really slowed him down. Another Sahagin pack for Poorscythe. That's not what he wants to see. He knows that this is where he's got to save time. Poorscythe can dodge some unrunnables here on 2F and get a solid 1F. He'll still be within 2 minutes. This race is getting a whole lot more interesting with Poorscythe gaining a lot of ground here. If he kills Kraken within the next 25 seconds, he has saved time over Crrool here as well. One minute 30 is the gap. Poorscythe has caught up well over 2.5 minutes just in the last 10 minutes of the run. Don't take your foot off the gas, Poorscythe. You can still make this up. If you're Crrool, on the other hand, he's gotta be sweating right now, knowing that 1 minute and a half lead at this point in the game is not safe whatsoever. So the weapon of choice for both runners is the Barbarian Sword. The Barbarian Sword is a PSP exclusive weapon. It drops from the strongest form of this game's super boss, Chronodia. However, the equipment glitch allows us to get it really early in the run. Yeah, there were weapons added in the GBA version, which also exist in this one, but the Barbarian Sword is exclusive to specifically the PSP version, and it is about 3 times as strong as the Excalibur. Yeah, the Barbarian Sword is absolutely ridiculous, boasting a massive 125 attack power, 20 accuracy, plus 18 to your character's strength stat, and plus 15 stamina. It just blows any other weapon in this game outside, like completely out of the water. So there is a quirk to the equipment glitch in the PSP version of the game, in that it is not safe to glitch anything onto your shield that is not a shield. And the reason for this is that when an enemy physically attacks you, the block animation pulls up the ID of the shield that you're wearing. And if you have, say, like an armlet on your shield, it'll try and block with the armlet, and it will have no animation to display, and the game will just hard lock. There are a few items that are exempt from this that, for whatever reason, the game pulls up a completely different animation. The ribbon is one of those items where if you get attacked with the ribbon, you get the large sword animation. So your character will block with the sword as opposed to the shield. There are a couple items too outside of the ribbon that are safe to equip, namely the Lordly Robes are safe to equip. But for the most part, most items will hardlock the game if they're equipped on your shield slot and you take a physical attack and your characters attempt to block. Oh, Poorscythe with a very quick waterfall is caught up even more time here. Crrool needs to hope he gets no Minotaur zombie encounters here that he has to stop and nuke. And so far has had a pretty good walk. Is that one encounter? I saw the one, it might have been 2. But no unrunnables. That's definitely not what Poorscythe was hoping Crrool would get. Crrool still has to walk all the way back though. So Poorscythe with a bit of a chance. Again, Crrool's kill method of choice for multiple enemy packs are nuke, whereas Poorscythe can just fire them to quick effect. So one of these encounters for Crrool, Poorscythe can get 2 and break even. It was 2 unrunnables for Poorscythe, not as fast as Crrool, but still a relatively quick walk down to Lufenia. The ribbon is still the go-to. The elemental defense that it provides is still second to none. You can get similar effects that are stackable with some of the endgame shields, but for the purposes of the speedrun, the shields don't really help us all that much. The ribbon does the job for us. Ooh, this 6 Winterwolf ambush is not what Poorscythe wanted to see if he wants to make up the gap here. That's a 112.48 Blue Dragon for Crrool. We'll see what the gap is when Poorscythe gets there. Wait, did he actually encounter the 1 in 64 Blue Dragon? Yeah, it looks like he did. I don't think he walked back over the spike tile. That is a really rare encounter outside of that spike tile at the door. Thankfully, the Blue Dragon is not dangerous, and it's a decent source of XP. Poorscythe is really hoping here that Flying Fortress slows Crrool down, which, as I can attest to, it has a habit of doing quite frequently. Evil Eye is one of the things that can slow you down here. The 4th floor too is particularly nasty in terms of encounters if you get bad packs. So the gap is about 1:15. Poorscythe still catching up time. 4 Hellhound ambush though, that's not good for him. Crrool having a relatively nice 4th floor. Every time Poorscythe makes up a little bit of time, he gets set back just a slight little bit. Warmech definitely still random on the bridge. We have actually seen multiple Warmechs in this tournament, which is very, very surprising. Even with the amount of races that we're doing, you don't expect Warmech to make an appearance at all. So having seen multiple of them this tournament is very exciting. I have personally had a Warmech in this tournament. Flying Fortress is doing its evil Flying Fortress things to Poorscythe. Crrool had a relatively tame Flying Fortress overall. Nice 4F from Poorscythe though. Heal at the beginning of the floor is definitely in case Warmech decides to show up. As well, you want to be full health for Tiamat anyway. Doing it early is not a problem if you get no encounters. With only 2 Barbarian Swords, Tiamat will be a little bit of a slower fight for Poorscythe. It's going to take him multiple rounds to take this thing down. It's possible to see about 1 or 2 encounters on the bridge. Getting no encounters for them is actually pretty lucky. So of course in a speedrun setting where you just walk straight through and you don't walk back and forth on the bridge trying to spawn a Warmech. Say at least 1 encounter is average, 2 is below average, 0 is exceptional. Three encounters on the bridge, however, makes me want to cry. So Crrool on the final stretch inside the Chaos Shrine. A Purple Worm, not the encounter you want to see right off the bat. It's got to stop and kill it. Crrool needs to dodge unrunnables here on this floor. Having a pretty good showing of it too. 0 encounter 3F to Death Eye. Absolutely incredible. And he is ahead of his PB by 1 minute. Even if Poorscythe manages to catch this up, if Crrool PBs, that is a success for him. And no encounters again. Oh, he got one right at the stairs, and it is the worst one you can get, the Ice Gigas Winterwolf. He's gonna have to nuke these guys down. Still, 1 encounter over both back and forth through that floor is absolutely insane. As much as you don't want to say it, given their reputation, you kind of want to see white dragons on this floor. Purple worms are slow. For both runners on both specific floors that they're on, you prefer to see the purple worm, or prefer to see the white dragons, as you can run away from them. 3 purple worm encounters for Poorscythe on that first floor. That is not a good sign for him. All this effort he's done to catch up, starting to slip away, especially if he gets encounters on this 3F here. Earth Elementals for Crrool is unfortunate. That's the one unrunnable on this floor. With no reliable way to AoE them, he's got to stop and physical them. Green Dragons for Poorscythe are the scary encounter, as they have AoE spells that really hurt. He doesn't get to see them though. Crrool running into multiple Earth Elementals, extremely unlucky. Crrool's gonna heal up before Lich 2. Lich 2 has an upgrade to his Blazari. He can now cast Nuke. Extremely dangerous. We will, however, not see it today. Crrool still on PB pace, ahead by about 30 seconds of his PB. Poorscythe, unlike Crrool, is just getting demolished by encounters here, and his gap is starting to get a lot larger. Although if he can dodge the purple worms on the one floor, he might be able to break even a little bit. And there's the purple worms, not what he wanted to see. Crrool at Merilith. Crrool managing to save 20 seconds on the Merilith floor to his PB. He is now ahead by 50 seconds. And that's just to his PB, mind you. Wow, what a Lich floor for Poorscythe. Made it all the way around to that last stretch without an encounter. Earth Elementals, again, not what you want to see. Both runners getting unlucky getting the Earth Elementals. Poorscythe, however, can deal with them a lot faster. I would be scared if I was Poorscythe, though. His warrior does not have a lot of HP. Can definitely die to Flare if he sees it. We'll see if he decides to throw a haste. He does. Hoping the haste goes off on the ninja, he can one-round this. It doesn't go off. You really want to see a physical here. Nuke. That's unfortunate. Fingers crossed that the warrior does not die from this. 317. A high roll could have killed the warrior. And that's Lich down for Poorscythe. Crrool's gonna lose a bit of time to his PB here. On the Kraken floor just from the water elementals. Should still be coming out of this ahead of PB. Poorscythe about a minute and a half behind. Still possible to catch up, but it's slipping out of his grasp very, very quickly. Things are gonna have to go disastrous for Crrool in order for him to lose this one at this point. Crrool onto the team map fight. Correct. This is game one of a best of three. So regardless of who wins, there is still a chance for the loser to come back and take this round overall. The races will be back-to-back depending on how the runners schedule them. This particular one will not be a back-to-back race. They're just doing the one race tonight. Still ahead of PB for Crrool. Crrool's going into this chaos fight not only trying to play it safe so that Poorscythe does not take the win from him, but also trying to not play it safe and squeeze that PB out. It's going to be interesting to see how he decides to play this fight. He has a 3-minute 4-second chaos fight in his PB, so he's going to need some good luck if he wants to pull this off. Crrool's PB, by the way, is 1 hour, 27 minutes, 39 seconds. So we'll see if he gets it. Poorscythe at Kraken. And the only thing that's going to save Poorscythe right now is the death to Chaos from Crrool, which is unlikely but possible depending on how safe Crrool decides to play it. I can't imagine Crrool is going to play this particularly risky. He's only doing the one Giant's Tonic. I can see why he's doing that with enough HP on his ninja. He should be able to get away with this. Black Mage absolutely needs the extra HP. Oh, that hit on the White Mage. That's very scary. Had he Chaos rolled any higher, this would have been a game over for Crrool. Crrool very lucky in the sense that he had enough HP rolls on his White Mage to survive that attack. Chaos is definitely trying. And this 4 purple worm encounter from Poorscythe. Probably put the final nail in the coffin for him on this race. Crrool needs to down Chaos in less than a minute in order to PB. Poorscythe needs to hope that Chaos kills Crrool, which is very unlikely to happen outside of a high rolling crit to his White Mage. We've already seen a crit physical to the White Mage, but he needs to roll a little bit higher if Poorscythe wants to pull this one out. "30 seconds left for Crrool to kill Chaos to get the new PB. He's just pressing X to win right now. Should be able to pull this off. It'll be pretty close though. We want to see a physical from Chaos, not on the White Mage, for less animations for Crrool to be able to pull this off. There's the physical. And he's down. That's a PB for Crrool. Incredible. 1:27:33. An official SRL time of 1:27:35. And a new personal best for Crrool in the quarterfinals. Incredible. So Poorscythe did everything he could to try and catch this up. He was down 4 minutes at one point. Managed to close the gap to about a minute. But couldn't close the gap all the way. And Crrool is going to take race 1. Welcome, Crrool, to the commentary booth.
Oh, hold on.
Congrats.
Congrats on your PB. Turn you down a little bit on my own stream before I rip everybody's ears.
Congrats over your new PB.
Thank you.
How's it feel?
A little surprised. Hold on. I think I'm breaking up a little. Okay, that should be good again.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. A little surprised.
I wasn't. You were on PB pace the whole way. I have your PB splits up, so I was commentating to that.
Yeah, I was behind between like Citadel and Tiamat, but then a minute ahead starting Death Eye. I'm like, holy crap, what just happened?
Yeah, your sunken was really rough. If you had a better sunken, you might have hit that 126.
Yeah. Still.
I mean, you're facing off one of the better runners in the game in Poorscythe.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably...
PBing is a great way to win.
Yeah, I have not played this well the entire tournament, I can tell you that much. Very focused, and what a match.
Yeah, you were 4 minutes ahead at one point, and Poorscythe managed to close the gap to about a minute. Were you sweating, given the previous history?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I saw, I think the difference was like a minute at... a minute at Tiamat. Yeah, I mean, Chaos' Shrine can definitely do plus or minus a minute. I've seen it happen plenty of times before, so I was sweating on that one.
A single encounter between the B3s in Chaos Shrine definitely helps your case. Only getting
I mean, I saved well over a minute on that split compared to my PB alone. Like, that was... Let me actually check how far off of gold that was, because that was very close to gold. Yeah, that was 3 seconds off of gold.
I'm not surprised at all.
So,
but you had you definitely... Poorscythe was close to catching that up.
Oh yeah, he played incredibly well, and I expected nothing less of him, but what a match that was, and I think that puts him at the second fastest loss in the entire tournament as well, which is saying something.
Most likely, yeah.
Sorry, I'm still kind of just catching my breath here.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. It's always good to PB in a race.
Oh yeah.
Especially one of this magnitude.
I mean, my old PB was from the finals last year, so to PB again now in the quarterfinals this year, it's something.
Hey, Poorscythe.
Hello.
Hey.
You made a good running of it, I'll give you that. You were down 4 minutes at one point, managed to claw back 3 minutes against Crrool, but couldn't get it done. Any thoughts?
I'm honestly just as surprised. Just 1 second.
Yeah, despite the terrible early game, still managing to pull off under 130 time with the RNG that you got is very impressive.
Yeah, I was... Honestly, after that glitch point, I just turned off everything and was just lasered in on the run.
That's from experience being down 4 minutes to Crrool. That's exactly what I did as well. And I had mentioned it earlier. Once you close the gap to about 1 minute, like Crrool was sweating, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I saw 1 minute apart at Tiamat, I knew, okay, this he can take this.
4 minute leads in this game are not safe, as we've seen on multiple occasions. All it takes is a string of bad luck for one person and a string of good luck for the other, and you can catch it back up. Crrool, however, had a very nice Chaos Shrine, managing to pull out the PB.
Yeah, my death eye was 3 seconds off of gold. That was...
I can't...
And I had a gold on Chime as well.
Between both B3s going to Death Eye and going back out, he had a single encounter, which was Ice Gigas Winterwolf.
So, I mean, I figured at that point, since I had everything still off at that point, I had to figure, just based on how I was playing, that I was gaining time in the back half of that run. Because I was just flying everywhere and doing really, really well, getting great RNG, except for the start of Chaos Shrine. Everything after that was probably fine.
Yeah, Crrool had a very abysmal Sunken Shrine, which didn't help. That's where you caught up a lot of time.
So yeah, I mean, like, pretty much I'm getting right to the Chaos fight at, what, the 127 mark, and I see him GG, I'm like, holy crap! Like, yeah. Because I thought, like, I was closing the gap.
No, once Death Eye hit, the gap had widened back up again to a significant amount.
Yeah, no, like, mainly my Ice and my Sunken. Like, in Ice, you gain minutes on me as well. Because we went from, like, plus almost, like, almost a 5 minute gap to, like, a 2.5 minute gap between Canoe and Merilith.
What was your Lich time?
32:53, and that's with a death on Lich.
I didn't die on him. I didn't even know what your Lich time was, because I wasn't, and I know I messed up my Rosetta split somewhere along the way.
Yeah, I messed up my split somewhere as well. My canal is currently set to 23:47, and that's actually my vampire split.
Yeah, but I mean, all things considered, I thought I was doing really, really well. So I was very, very surprised when you were getting that. But of course, you always seem to PB these clutch tournament races. So.
I mean, it is the second year that it's happened, but that was quite an interesting first round. That's for sure.
This could have been a lot lower had certain segments not gone bad for Crrool. Like, he had a 27.5 Earth Rod, which matches mine.
Yeah, I don't even think I was out of the Earth Cave until...
No, yeah, you were at he was at Earth Rod and you were at Vampire still.
Yeah, I mean, I could see how bad it was getting, and I was like, screw this, and turn the TV off. That's all I can do at that point, and just play. And I'm very thrilled with this, keeping this under 130, considering the really, really poor start.
Yeah. You can definitely see the route differences take effect, especially in Sunken, where Crrool lost a lot of time to you there. Not just from the quality of encounters that he got, but you got a significant amount of unrunnables as well. You're just able to deal with them a lot quicker.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the downsides that my route has, and I just can't be bothered to learn the new route when I'm only running in the tournament, basically, and then I just quit the game again.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, there's no shame in losing to that. To a PB.
I mean, you got a 120.
There's no shame in losing to a PB.
Incredibly impressive time. So GG on getting that, especially with the early game that you had.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would prefer to have less of that from now on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. But yeah, right. I mean, still very well played. So good job to you on that one. Very excited to get to race 2.
How about if we go back and watch that PB on your end, because I want to see just how it was going back and forth.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a segment where it's hard to tell because Crrool does Merilith before shopping. Or the other way around. Yeah, the route is like the old shopping route.
Yeah.
So there's a point where your routes diverge a little bit.
Thank you for the commentary, Double.
You're welcome. It was exciting in the back half of the run because I thought you were going to catch back up.
I'll agree with that.
So game 2, you guys have it scheduled?
Not yet.
Nope, not yet.
All right, we'll keep it locked,
Sure we'll
guys.
find time.
Game 2 is going to be equally as exciting, especially if it gets to be a lot closer to the mid-game. This can still go either way. Crrool has the 1-game advantage. However, don't count Poorscythe out yet. He still has a chance to pull this out.
Oh, absolutely. Poorscythe could very much still take this. I can easily see that happening, honestly.
My prediction before the race did not come true. Team Ochre Jelly did not win. So congrats, Crrool, for beating Team Ochre Jelly.
Wait, I'm not on Team Ochre Jelly?
I meant neither of you got the Ochre Jelly encounter that I saw.
But yeah, Poorscythe, like I said, thank you for the race, because that was quite a match. And I mean, I know you may not have felt it as much as I did, but you got me sweating. That's and it was I enjoyed the match. I can understand if that wasn't exactly the same, but
I knew I had you sweating. I just imagined I had you sweating more than you.
Well, there's still 2 matches to happen, so let's see what the other 2 rounds are gonna have.
Maybe I can punch another 126 for fun. That'd be kind of nice.
Well, if you do that, he's gonna have to PB to beat you.
Yes.
Come on, if Boxmaster can get a 126, you can.
So.
Oh, the gauntlet has been thrown down.
Oof. Okay, I'm just gonna wait scared in a corner until the second match happens then.
Okay. No shame to Box. Actually, the only thing I was really upset about was Box losing that match with a 126.
Oh yeah. I can imagine.
Getting a 126 and losing does not feel very good. Let me tell you.
Well, I guess that's all for us then.
Yep, that's all. Thanks everyone for watching. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Total Chaos Tournament later this week, including Game 2 of this. So keep your eyes posted for that. Until then, we'll see you later. Take care.